The calm before the storm. Both literal and figuratively, I suppose. How's it going this morning, everyone? I got up pretty early today, well before sunrise in the Portland area, and it's like 5:50 or so, and I just felt like it was time to get up. But I got up and I've been doing some things this morning, and it's a beautiful morning. It's going to be a wonderful 85 to 90 degree day in the area. And because of that, you wouldn't know that there's a storm a-coming. And apparently there was a weather service alert for the greater Portland metro area starting today in the afternoon sometime and going until Tuesday late morning. You can never predict a windstorm down to the hour, but usually when they say there's one coming, it arrives. Portland has unique weather and a lot of drizzle, and it's not quite as rainy as people make it out to be. But point being, this video has dual meaning. It's not just about Portland, obviously. It's more about that feeling of knowing something's coming that isn't there yet. You know, the worst thing about this storm, just to finalize the thoughts on it, is the fact that it's coming in early September when there's still leaves on the trees. And when there's still leaves on the trees, they catch the wind a lot more and they tend to uproot easier. But the biggest danger right now is wildfires. And we have some going right now up by Mount Hood and out by the Dalles, I believe. And if these gusts come the way they say, that they could be up to 65-mile-an-hour gusts of wind, that's just crazy fast for this area. And that would make for very difficult firefighting, let's put it that way. Which is nothing compared to what's happening in California right now. You know, we often live in times where we know something could happen, but when things are going well for us and we don't have any major issues in life, then I kind of take it for granted. And anything can happen at any time, and that's why it's so important, I think, to really appreciate the quiet times. It's that old saying that comes to mind. They say, "May you live in interesting times," which was in some old Zen quote. But it really doesn't mean it's good to live in interesting times. It has a negative connotation, which it basically says, you better hope that you don't live in interesting times because there's always war and upheaval and chaos. And but it's really hard to appreciate the quiet moments, the calm before the storm. I feel like as society, we're moving towards that right now, that we are what I would call, I guess, the pinnacle or precipice of what we call, have to do the quote, civilized society, right? I don't necessarily think that we are as civilized as we believe, but we've come a long way. And we've come a long way from our primal ancestors, and we're trying to overcome our primal desires and urges, but at the same time, we're questioning now why. Like, what exactly are we building? But anyhow, society is getting to the point where it's starting to unravel, at least what we've created right now. It feels that way. It may not be. You know, I've learned as I get older that sometimes you feel like something's coming, and it never comes. That's why I made the video the other day about prophecies and how I think that they're nonsense, because I haven't seen any legitimate prophecies that have ever predicted anything with uncanny uncertainty that can be cross-referenced and checked ahead of time and say this is going to happen here, that can actually benefit people. And that's one of the scariest things for people, is not being able to predict necessarily when the storm comes. Before meteorologists, we had no idea a windstorm would be coming on a sunny September afternoon. You might have you might be building teepees or setting up huts. You might just be in the middle of doing something and all of a sudden the wind kicks up and, we've come a long way to predict certain things as much as possible because we don't like uncertainty as human beings. But we have to learn to live with it. No matter how stable we are and content and life's going just fine for us, and then we lose a pet or a friend, or we lose our jobs, or our house burns down, anything can happen at any time. I think that one of the most valuable traits that we can have as human beings, besides that emotional intelligence and being able to cope with everything, is the ability to laugh at things and laugh at the absurdity of life, to be able to overcome things and obstacles as they appear. So that's about all I wanted to say. Just wanted to point out the storm factor and at least make a metaphor out of it so I'm not just giving a Portland weather report. But if you do live in the Portland area, keep an eye out. Clean up all that loose stuff in the backyard and tents and blankets and like laundry lines and stuff like that, or any special plants you might have that you might not want to get damaged. Be well, my friends. Take care. Be safe.